back to the main room. Then we wait for our friends in the breakout room. About 42 seconds, they will join us back. And then we're going to continue on. Anyone from the breakout rooms is going to share their works. I joined some of the breakout rooms. Very good discussion, and some of it would like to try it this week for the class. That's good. One thing that you have to remember for those who in the main room, pedagogy is just like I put it pedagogy as something like art of teaching, arts of learning, because you have to act. You kena berlakon sebenarnya in pedagogy. Sometimes you know the topic, but you're not going to give it directly to the student. You just want it to the student to jumpa dia sendiri from reading the articles, from getting it from YouTube, or find it by themselves, and you're going to kata orang stamping and verify it. Yes, this is what I want. Itu yang saya buat lah dalam kelas. Okay, we're back to the main room. So let us ask those in the breakout room 1. Anyone from the breakout room 1 would like to share your learning activities that you have come up?
Yes, I would like to invite Dr. Faizi to present us.
Okay, sila share the screen, I think.
Okay, Prof. Yeah. So what this one is it?
Faizi from which faculty?
Razak, Prof.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Saya cuti hari
Cuti design activity ya. Okay, silakan.
Dekan saya suruh datang, so saya kena datang. Okay, Prof, ini saya punya, ini kami projek tadi ada dalam 5-6 members. Okay, ini cadangan kami daripada grup 1 tentang design pedagogy learning activities. Okay, kami memilih subjek project management dan topiknya kepada project risk management. Okay, so jadi instruction dia yang pertama, form a group of learning consists of 3 to 4 team members lah. So suruh diorang create group dalam 3 ke 4 orang lah setiap group.
Okay.
So basically ini principles ya, self-determined group members. So kita nak cungkil collaboration as well as social skills. Okay, nombor 2, okay, ini arahan dia. Okay, you must find videos and articles about construction or infra related project management topic from the internet. Okay, and then the criteria would be kalau boleh video tu jangan lama lah, maybe contoh lah content yang lama, and also the article must be from a journal or conference, and also must not related, not below 2010 articles. Okay, so kat sini okay, dia punya learning tools dia internet, and then kita punya principle dia self-determined on videos and article to be reviewed. So self-determined, dia yang decide lah what videos related to this project management videos and also article itu sendiri. So kita mencungkil critical thinking, digital skill dan social skill. Nombor 3, setup. Then lepas dia cari video pula, and then from that video kita akan narrow down to discuss on the topic which is project risk management. Okay, project risk management, and then saya nak diorang discuss on how kami nak diorang discuss on how they handle the risk in project management. Okay, so the learning tools, the platform yang dipakai, either they can use WhatsApp, Webex, breakout group, lah. Okay, so they can discuss among them. So jadi the interview principle would be self-determined on the topic itself. Okay, it could be many topics under risk management, and also they will self-determine on which platform that they want nak use in order to make the discussion. Okay, so digital and social skill. And then suggest to us on how your group performance will be assessed. So in this case, kami nakkan student to create their own rubric. Okay, their own rubric. Of course, kalau dia mana yang tak faham, so kita sebagai pensyarah kita akan share dulu contoh rubrik yang kita pakai bagi dia dapat sikit idea, and then we let them create their own rubric. So antara platform yang boleh pakai kita yang ini kami suggest Rubista lah. So ada banyak lah yang platform nak create rubric. So ini one of them lah. Okay. And then self-determine on how student conduct self-assessment. Alright, digital and reflection skill lah yang kita nak congkil. And then last kali, okay, and then when it comes to reporting, dia punya activity tu, kita report could be in PowerPoint, video, WordPress or blog, and then kita nak diorang share simpan dalam e-learning so that result itu boleh di-share dan dilihat oleh semua pelajar. Okay, and then self-determine on the format of the final report. Itu saja Prof daripada kami grup 1.
Thank you very much. Saya suka bila you let the student to decide on the rubric. Yes, that's another thing that when you allow the student to set on the rubric, bear in mind memang you jangan, some of us kata nanti student akan ambil rubric yang simple-simple. No, actually you will see that they will decide on quite good rubric to assess their own performance. This is really good. Okay, I think congratulations to this group. Okay.
Okay, bro.
Okay. If you can share this one to the Google Drive back, I'm really appreciate it. So that later on in the future, kalau bagi khusus, I can credit to you lah, Faizil.
Okay. Alright, bro. Alright.
Thank you.
Terima kasih, bro. Terima kasih.
Okay, siapa ada lagi nak share from any breakout room punya group or any from the main meeting group? Anyone? Kita open for another one ke? Kalau siapa nak share? Congrats to the group number 1. Yes, good attempt. Dekan pun dah puji kat situ. Faizil, Dr. Faizil. Very good. Okay. Ada siapa-siapa lagi would like to share? Okay, tak apa. It's okay. Kita go to the next one, to the second one. So this is where you have to remember. You have to remember that I hope my template simplify you on try to implement a simple pedagogy learning approach in your class, and because the template is actually assist you on to how to put it in the activities that you give the control of learning to the students. Of course, you cannot give 100% control, but slowly you give it a little bit control on the student learning to the student itself, and from time to time, from one semester to another semester, then you might be going to revise your learning activities, and it will be more complex. Then later on, you can copyright your learning activities. That's one thing that you have to know. You can copyright your learning activities. You can just compile it as a learning activities for your subject. You copyright it, and then of course those who select teaching track punya promotion, differentiated career pathway, you select teaching track as part of teaching track for your promotion. You can actually show that is what you call it, your proof of innovation in learning and teaching. And it gives mark also to test DCP. That is the aim of this course. I hope that you can get ideas of it. Okay, let us move to the next slide. If there is no other questions, is there any questions? Then kita move to my next slide. Open my slide. Okay, so that kita akan fokus on double loop. Mungkin, okay, double loops, I will explain it. So that might be some of you, if you have times, you can explain it by yourself, or might be you can do it later. Okay. Double loop learnings, okay, is something like I give you the samples. Double loop learning. Where is it? Okay, this is double loop learning. Sample number 2. Okay, let me explain what do I mean by double loop. Okay, so it's happened in my same class also. Educational Technology Foundation and Research. The topic is about emerging media in education, and my research course learning outcome is that to identify at least 2 emerging media in education. I give it to the students. So I put it here as an instruction based on the stated learning objective. What would you like to do to achieve the objective? Okay, I give them objective and say what would you like to do to achieve the objective. Okay. I give an example. I would like to browse the video in YouTube to find info on the emerging media. Next, I would like to share discounts on the potential emerging media with my friend. I give sample. Okay, when you do a pedagogy learning activities, to guide them to the learning behavior that you want, you need to give examples. Okay, but no doubt, bila you give example, sometimes the student just do what you have been put as an example lah. Memang macam tu lah. To the students, dia nak mudah, dia just ikut apa you suggest here. But you can give some condition. You say no, you are not allowed to follow my sample. You have to select your own ways to achieve the objective. That's how you put a rules of regulation lah in the learning activities. Dan saya kata, based on the suggested learning task, find resources to assist the knowledge acquisition. Saya kata, sebab kita nak belajar tentang two emerging media in education, it's not easy. You need a comprehensive reading. It need to find these two emerging media in education. It looks like the topic is so simple, but what they need to do is that they need to do a critical analysis. They need to ask experts. They need to actually read some of the website who analysing the trends of emerging media in education. Dia bukannya come up tiba-tiba kata, oh, new emerging media, Webex, Zoom. No, they have to do some kind of small research on it. So that's why I put it here, find the resources to assist the knowledge acquisition. So they're going to define the resources. Dan saya kata, share your resources with your friends who pedagogy learning activities to group. So saya ada setkan forum and suggest to us on how your performance understanding will be assessed. Saya akan tanya dia macam mana. There's numbers of the articles ke, numbers of resources yang dia jumpa. Check back your stated learning objectives, whether you have achieved or not, or you want to revise it. That is double loop. Saya suruh dia check balik dia punya state ni, what you like to achieve tu, apa yang dia suggest tadi, whether dia already achieve or not, or they want to revise. Macam tu. Itu double loop. You ask them to reflect back on the methods they use to learn about these two media or to identify that two media. So that is double loop. They can actually mungkin they revise their objective. There's one group, based on my experience, there's one group, they said, Prof, dia kata, I've been found out that this is not about emerging media. The words that they are using is not emerging. They use it future. Then it give you hints that they know and they read it, and then might be in the future you will like to change it lah. For example, this semester I change it to future media. I say because of COVID lagi lah. Dia jadi something like emergency remote punya teaching and media that will use in the education. So benda-benda macam tu yang you can do it for what we call it double loop. Okay, let us move. Before saya move, saya open for questions ke before about pedagogy. I give a very simple concept. Saya tak nak bagi kompleks sangat sebab apa? The words pedagogy tu pun dah kompleks. If I give too complex on pedagogy, might be you know very well about the principle and definition of pedagogy and all other things, but at the end you cannot implement in your class. I give a very simple way. What is pedagogy? What you can do, what you can control. Self-determine, remember, self-determine in terms of topic, in terms of time, and so on. Time, in terms of time, sometimes you give it times in a form of range. Saya suka bagi range about you have to finish the activities within 1 week to 2 weeks. Saya bagi times. Dan saya tak penalty lah. Those who submit it might be 2 weeks. Because you have to remember that different students have a different pace for learning. They have a different background. So some students might be they are good, they have more time, they focus. They are not last minute students. They do it as early as they can. But some students, they are last minute student, and anything that they do last minute is the best. Okay, there's something that you have to understand on it. So saya bagi simple concept, simple sample, so that later on for today or tomorrow class you can implement in your class lah. Okay. Let us ada question lah. Is there any?
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Sila.
Saya nak tanya berkenaan dengan assessment untuk aktiviti yang kita gunakan pedagogi ni.
Okay.
We can see that we give students freedom how they can assess the works yang diorang buat sendirilah.
Okay.
And then kita boleh nampak dia punya outcome of the learning, kita nak diorang empower diorang punya social skill lah kan. And then katakan dalam kelas saya ni memang saya nak assess berkenaan dengan diorang teamwork. So selalunya saya gunakan peer assessment punya form untuk diorang punya teamwork punya skills lah. So kalau kita combine dalam pedagogi juga besides diorang punya own rubric for example yang tadi tu, dan kita punya form of peer assessment, is it okay Prof?
Boleh, tak ada masalah. Tak ada masalah. Sometimes you bagi choice juga, you have your own rubric, they come up with their rubric. Ask them which rubric that they would like to use. As long as the rating tu sama lah, maksudnya rubric tu 5 skill ke 4 skill ke, itu guideline yang you kena tetapkan lah. And might be the component of the rubric tu you can make variety sikit lah, boleh. You can use that. You can use the peer assessment rubric that you already have into these activities of pedagogy. Tak ada masalah. One thing that you have to remember is, my background is education. I always actually inform my friends from educations, although we are actually have a bachelor degree, master degree, PhD in education, but when come to teaching and learning on certain courses, that is not actually what our courses. For example, we have friend here who teach electrical engineering, civil engineering, you from FABU and so on. We did not know actually the nature of your course. So you are the one who expert in your course. So as long as you design the learning activity that works for you, and then you can reflect some of the principle of pedagogy or any learning theory, not all, don't expect to reflect all principles of learning theory. You might be reflect some of it. I believe I can call it as part of innovation in learning and teaching. So don't be afraid. For those my friends not from education, try it. Don't be afraid. You are the expert in your own area. So design it according to your class, to your students, as long as you reflect some of the principle of it. For example, today we learn about self-determinants, which is pedagogy. You give the freedom to the student. How far that you give the freedom to the student is up to you. Is you give it might be just part of to decide on the topic, to decide on the assessment. More aggressively might be kalau you are really confident on it, you start to give it more. For example, I have one class lah tonight. I would like to give it more. Nanti saya beritahu. Because saya mengajar open distance learning. No doubt as an educator, kita worried a lot whether the student get the knowledge or not. Kita kadang-kadang kita do some learning activities, we afraid whether betul ke learning take place. Ataupun kita shock sendiri. Okay, I share you one examples that I did it because today is week 4. Kita kat week 4. For ODLs, I already had 2 classes with them. I need to combine few topics because you know that ODL is not going to meet every week. Dia akan bertemu selang seminggu. 1 week, for example, first week just the introduction of the course. Second week is about explaining the concept and activities. And then the third week, saya memang rest. I give them revision week. Kemudian the fourth week today, I actually have to concentrate on the new topic. I will share you one techniques I use, then I get some of the reflects with them. Nanti at the end saya akan share. Okay, let us move to, ada question lagi tak? Ada soalan ke atau any burning things that you would like to ask ke apa ke?
Assalamualaikum Prof.
Sila.
Siti Rokia here.
Sila Dr. Siti.
Actually I've been doing quite a bit of this approach, but I did not give it a name.
Okay.
Because I always trust the students have their own ideas. However, since most, if not all, a lot of them were used to having things done for them. Like, this is what you have to do. They just do it. But they were, a number of them were quite scared in this new territory of deciding on what to do.
Yeah.
So a good example is when we guide students for their undergraduate project. Actually, undergraduate project is very interesting because they determine the problem and they decide on the method and they decide on the answer. But many were scared of this new approach to learning. So how do you usually respond to students who are reluctant to go straight away into this approach? Thank you.
Okay, for those, based on my experience, yeah, that's one of the challenges that you face. Some students, they just want to have a simple ways of learning. They just inform me, Prof, instead of giving me this activity, why not just give me the topic, what I should learn, what I should read. Okay. But what I do usually, what I do is that I will advise them personally. I say, there's a reason why I did this, because I want you to learn the topic and you will actually remember it longer than the ones that I just teach you. Okay, and this is about your learning. It's not about me. Every semester, I keep actually enhancing my knowledge in this area. But what I need to do now is that to pass the contents and would like to produce another seconds of me. Those who are actually expert in this area. This is what I give it to them, Dr. Siti Rokia. I'm not just passing the knowledge to you. If I just passing the knowledge to you, I just give you books. Okay, read this book and learn by yourself. No. But there is part of the things that not in the books, where you need to get it from experience it. You need to experience it, you get it along the way. And this is what I always do to the student. I consult the student one by one, Dr. Siti Rokia, for those who reluctant on this method. And for those who reluctant on this method, I consult one by one. But I need to identify them lah. Okay, some of you might be asked, okay, how many students that I have in the class? Sometimes I have 30 or 20 students. Usually you will observe it. For example, tadi one of our friends kan saying that dia kata, or in the breakout room, dia kata in my class there is one student, dia kata usually they teach about behaviors about humans. So dia kata they used to give the procedure on how to tackle on the human behavior. But then suddenly dia kata quite surprised in her class that there is one student who already knows the procedure from reading. From reading. So this kind of student, you tak akan consult dia lah. Dia ada the attributes of be a self-dependence punya learner. But what you need to consult is that the students yang memang reluctant. For example, kelas ODL saya ada 20 orang ni. I know there are about 7 students that I need to guide it one by one. What I did is that saya WhatsApp, saya tanya, I look at in the e-learning, you still did not log in. The last time that you log in is 4 days ago. Sampai begitu saya WhatsApp. Saya kata, cikgu, I look at the e-learning, last time that you log in into the e-learning 4 days ago. So I need you to log in because I have so many activities inside it. Sampai begitu saya persuade the students so that they know that this is for them. It's not for me. And at the end of it, you know what? When UTM lead release the EPP form, you will realize that you did not know, but you will realize that students will write something in your EPP saying that at first I hate this approach, but later on when I go along with this approach, I think I love this one because it's focused on the learning. But what happened, apa yang selalu frustrated among educators, those who implement this kind of approach, pedagogy, active learning, problem-based learning and so on, during your class, you already train the student to be independent. You already train the student to be a critical thinking punya student lah. But suddenly bila dia move to other class yang back to lecture, our friends yang dekat UTM ni, use lecture, use explaining, read from the PowerPoint, no such activities, focusing on exam, focusing on, totally on evaluation, not assessment. What happened to this group of students? They akan demotivate back and back to the square one with all the not so independent. Itu yang mengecewakan lah based on my experience. So I hope I answer your question, Dr. Rokia. Okay,
yes, thank you very much.
Okay, let us move to the next slide, which is actually about pedagogy. Okay, quite interesting, our online course for today. At first, I'm afraid that might be when we have this pedagogy through online. I say, oh my God, how do I handle it? But I try my best lah. Okay, let us go to pedagogy. Okay, and this is all based on my experience. I never usually when I would like to share methods in teaching and learning that related to the bombastic word macam pedagogy ni, I'm not going to share if I never try. Because when you try it, you know it, and you know the challenges, you know how to get to make things smooth sailing in your class and so on. Okay, pedagogy. And these pedagogy techniques is the techniques that I have been observed by UTM Lead for UTM Teaching Award punya nomination. I fill in the Teaching Award nomination I think 2018. 2019. 2019, I fill in the form, been selected as the finalist and been observed. My teaching has been observed by UTM Lead, and that session that been observed is where I implement pedagogy in my class. I've used pedagogy in teaching the programming course. Okay, let us look what is pedagogy. This is very interesting, why I would like to share about pedagogy. Okay, it's actually the same as paragogy also. Pedagogy or paragogy is actually referring to the same terms and is described on self-directed learnings that involve peers. Okay, and para means alongside and gogi means leading. Para means alongside, side by side, and then gogi means leading. So peers will actually try to lead the other peers side by side. And pedagogy applies knowledge principles of andragogy, adult learnings, which is actually reflecting the peer-based teaching and learning under the andragogy. Okay, there are 5 working principles of pedagogy. Okay, we do not need to remember all of it as long as you know the concepts of it. These principles, along with the author definition of each principle of it, is decentralized center, which is actually you understanding the context of shared context is more important than understanding oneself context. Meaning that if in teaching and learning, if you are doing one way of teaching and learning, you are explaining it to all the group of students, is going to be centralized to you. But when you use pedagogy, you decentralize the understanding of the concept, misunderstanding of the concept to the group of peers. Okay, in pedagogy, the student will realize that they are not the only one who start or did not understand the concept. Other peers also did not understand the concept. Okay, this will make them more comfort, more relaxed, more not really stressed on it. They say, oh, I'm not the only one who did not understand it. Oh, in my class, my peers also did not understand it. So they are not alone. They are together, side by side, did not understand the concept. That is what the decentralized center. Meta learning as a source of knowledge. Okay, meta learning is about learning about learning. Anytime that you read, you jumpa perkataan meta is about something. So when meta is actually compromised with learning, it means that learning about learning. For example, meta-cognitive. Cognitive is about thinking about thinking. So meta learning is that meta learning about learning. How do you learn about learning? How do you learning about learning? Okay. So as a source of knowledge, so they need to learn it from their peers. There's a lot to learn about learning. Learning is not only an acquisition of knowledge. Learning is about learning the methods on acquisition of knowledge. Besides you get the knowledge. Okay, that is the thing we have to know. Okay, and peers have different but equal perspective. They have equal perspective, but they are different. Among the peers, there are some peers who have already read the contents earlier prior to the class session. They can help you because might be you are not the one who read it. Okay, remember, okay, this has happened in the real life also. Okay, it happened to me. In some of the meeting, in some of the academic committee meeting at the faculty, sometimes I did my homework very well. I have so many times I did my homework prior to the meetings. I'm the one who have to chair the meetings, the academic committee meeting at the faculty. Sometimes I did my homework very well because my assistant registrar already give all the meeting agendas, all the documents prior to the meeting in the Google Drive. Then sometimes I have much time to do it, to browse into it 3 days before the meeting. I did browse it properly. I tried to read one by one the student cases and everything. But there are sometimes, there are certain situations that I don't have time to read it. And what happened is that I just enter the room, the meeting room, and I say that, sorry, I did not did my homework. I did not do my homework. I did not browse into the meeting agenda. I did not browse to the minute meeting because I have so many things to do before this. So now what I need to do is that TDA, Deputy Dean of Academic, you need to alert me. You need to brief me. This is a peers, this is a pedagogy. But pedagogy in the meeting, that is what in learning you have to tell the students that you need peers in learning. And peers is very, very important. And learning is distributed, not linear. Learning is distributed, it's not linear. This is a principle of pedagogy. And realize the dream if you can, then move on. And learners should attempt to fulfill their personal motivation but shouldn't dwell too long. They have to know about this. So realize the dream if you can, then move on. This is the last principle of pedagogy is really nice. For me, it's really nice, not only for students, it's including us, as the one in academia, and realize the dream if you can, then move on. Sometimes we need to move on in life. We might needs to achieve something before this and we are not able to achieve it, but just move on. And that's part of life. Okay, and Howard Rangels has coined the terms of pedagogy in 2012, and he combined the social media with pedagogy to describe the pedagogy as the futures of high-end online learning in which motivated self-learners collaborate via varieties of social media to create, deliver, and learn an agreed curriculum. Wow, this definition is so current, is so correct, due to the situation of nowadays that we cannot meet face to face. Okay, but it had been coined by Rangels in 2012. Can you see it? Can you see it? And the definitions of pedagogy, and not at it very useful for the times of pandemics right now. And each learner serve as an instructor, roles, and create the syllabus and strategy to promote critical thinking and thoughtful discussion. That's pedagogy. Okay, let us move. Okay, so this is what the groups needs to do, because pedagogy also putting the student in the groups. They need to have a consensus of expectations, learning objectives, media technology, and the social contracts of the course. What do they need to achieve at the end of the activities? They have to decide on it. They need to formulate a process of communications with one another, how to respond to questions, feedbacks, timely manners, and evaluate performance at the completion of the course. This is what the group needs to do. And be a process to translate changes to the learning environment to be implemented in the next cycle. So that's the responsibility of them. And one thing that you have to remember, it's not about peer learning together and teaching. It's about peer learning together and teaching each other. So this is pedagogy. When they learn together, it's not just learning about the topic, but swim together and face the problem together, help each other. That's pedagogy. And the main principle is about co-learning, co-creating of the knowledge, co-working, share activities, peer review, and assessment. That's part of pedagogy. That's why, usually based on my experience, some students, they cannot survive in pedagogy if they are too self-centric. If they're too self-centric, they cannot share their knowledge with others. Yeah, because might be student kan, sometimes they found out one article that's very good for the class. They just keep quiet and don't want to share with others. And there's too self-centric. If they are too self-centric, memang they cannot actually make pedagogy works lah. And usually when I face this kind of student, I will advise the students that the knowledge is not belong to them. The knowledge is belong to the creators and to Allah, and they should share. If they did not share it, okay, might be later on what I call it, the redha Allah tu tak dapat lah. Itu yang selalu saya cakap lah to the student. To the non-Muslim, I saying that it's our responsibility to share what we have to others. Life is not about ourselves. Life is about ourselves and others. We are living among communities and societies. We need them. They need us. They're meant to be for us, and we are meant to be for them. Okay. And this is a very good statement. Why pedagogy? They say it here. With access to the open educational resources, there are so many webinars nowadays. There are so many resources in YouTube. There are so many resources in open resources, MOOCs and so on. Free, tu. In an expensive communication platform, groups of people can learn together outside as well as inside formal institution. All of this prompted us to reconsider the meaning of peer learning. And there are so many information out there. And you just Google it, you can get it. And the connections that make it possible for us to learn in the future are more relevant than the knowledge we hold individually in the present. This is where we know that nowadays, the connection with others is very, very important. We are not expert in everything. Sometimes we need people. Saya still need people on certain things. Sometimes I might be know about it, but blank. Tiba-tiba berlaku blank. Tak ingat lah peraturan ni. I need people. And I just text someone and ask them, okay, can you help me? I stuck at this. And so on. And this is the principles of pedagogy. The right to be heard, the right to listen, the right to speak. Everybody has the right to speak, the right to co-lead in the decision-making system, and the right to cooperate in the formulations of options. And try to find a consensus in the meetings. And this is a part of it, to empower the worldwide population of self-motivated learners who use digital media to connect with each other, to co-construct knowledge or to co-learn. And learning is a social, active and ongoing process. Learning is not just sitting in a room and read the book. Learning is more than that. You need to interact with people. You need to interact with people, whether face-to-face or online. Nowadays, you remember, the challenge that interacting with people through online, sometimes it put a stress, in a stress condition. Sometimes you need people to talk also. That's why some of us, if you're staying alone, you have cats, you have dogs to be your companion lah in your life. Because the nature of people that they need to talk. Sometimes they might be to talk to the wall, talk to through WebEx with their friends. They can do that now. And co-learning is ancient, and the capacity of learning by imitations and more to teach others what we know, and is the essence of human culture. We are human because we learn together. That's a very strong words. It comes from the pedagogy principles. And it becoming clear today tools and some understanding of how to go about it. And group of self-directed learners can organize their own courses online. For example, through Facebook, I noticed that my PhD student, they have their own focus group on how to survive in Viva. It looks like coincidence lah. This year, I have two students who one is already graduated, another one is just passed the Viva last 2 weeks. So suddenly, both of them just make a session through WebEx, a session with other new students how to survive in Viva, and they share it in Facebook. And I say, they just share it with others, because sharing is part of learning. And sometimes you feel satisfied when you share something. And to do pedagogy, this is a skills that behind pedagogy. Pedagogical interaction needs many skills. Critical thinking, collaborations, conflict resolution, because when you in the group, when the student in the group, the conflicts among each other sometimes, decision making, mindfulness, patience and compassion. Patience is very important nowadays. With the situation of COVID-19, yesterday has been released that we were going to continue our PKPB till 6 December, kan? And some people already ask, what is UTM stand on it? Okay, be patient. Of course, anything new information come from the government, UTM top management through the Jabat Pendata and SHK, They are already set a meeting about it. They are already consider all the consequences about COVID-19. And that's UTM. First thing, I think when Johor has been announced as red zone, everybody asking, what is the stand on UTM? All school have already closed. What about UTM? Can we work from home? So be patient and of course UTM will decide on it. Okay. And the pedagogical technology tools that we have nowadays, we have Twitters, we have Facebook, we have Link, we have Partner Up, we have so many pedagogical technological tools that we can use nowadays. And this is a very strong statement. It says that don't overload the student. Let them learn from YouTube and fact or linking to an expert. Expert can be any content expert in the internet. So I repeat, don't overload the student. Don't just let the student know, or don't just make us the only source of knowledge that they can get. They can get the knowledge from YouTube, from frequently asked questions, from other expert, and so on. So we just need to channel them, and just need to channel them to the source. Okay, this is one examples that I did a pedagogy in my class for April last. I think this is April last year. Okay, I have here the pedagogy learning activities. I show this just to give an example for you to arrange it in our e-learning. And don't just implement pedagogy, explain it through PowerPoint presentation. No, put it in e-learning. I put it in e-learning as pedagogy learning activities. I put a forum. I give a video on programming, videos on how to do a chat spot in Dreamweaver. I give a tutorials. I give the other tutorial. I give it number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 are resources that I get it from the internet. I channel it. I select it so that this is the one that I would like them to refer. And I give notes also, the meaning menu extension. I give a pedagogy learning activity part 2 extra activities on update and the second pedagogy, and I give it submitting your report for pedagogy learning activities. This is how I put it. This is all the resources, and this is the platform for them to discuss with peers, experts, and so on. And this in this learning activity, I not only invited my former student, I invited also one of the programmers from the industry who experience using software, so that it gives more knowledge to the student to share, or they would like to ask questions. This is sample number 1. Okay, let us try the same situation that we did for pedagogy just now. Okay, on pedagogy, let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, you can open what we call it, the Google Drive folder back. Where is my Google Drive folder? Let me try to open it back. Okay, what you need to do is that, okay, let me share my screen back. Before that, if you have any question, you can ask questions. Any questions? Tak ada, okay. You just need to browse my Google Drive back. Okay. I give a samples of pedagogy here that I did it in my class. Okay. The same template. I'm using the same template. Okay. I teach about critical analysis of articles in the class because my class related to educational technology foundation and research. Okay, this is quite challenge topic because I need to teach the students to critically analyze the articles so that they can find their research scope or research topic for their master project later on. Okay, how to conduct the critical analysis. I'm not using the systematic literature review technique because this is a top course program. As long as they can do a critical analysis of the articles, that's quite enough. But if they want to go further to make it more systematic, to make it more comprehensive, they can use a systematic literature review approach. So I put it here based on a stated learning issue. This is a learning issue. I state the learning issue. Decide whether your roles in this pedagogy learning activities. I want them to decide whether they are facilitator, they are learners or contributor. consists of 3 members. A group consists of 3 group members. They have to decide their roles. Okay. Next, I said, based on the decided roles, prepare your teaching notes. Question to ask. Remember, if they are facilitator, they have to prepare the teaching notes. If they're going to be learners, they're going to prepare the question. If they're going to be contributor, they're going to prepare additional resources to assist your peers. And they need to record their discussion so that I will know that how far that they have been discussed. Good about online learning nowadays is that you can ask them to set Webex session in their group, record it, share with you. Then you can observe what happened in that discussion and so on. Prior to the online teaching session through Big Blue Button, last time I used Big Blue Button. Last year I used Big Blue Button in the e-learning. The teaching notes through Big Blue Button, the teaching notes question and resource has been checked. I need to check all the teaching notes, the question to ask, additional resources, they need to submit to me because I need to check whether they are preparing the correct teaching notes related to this topic. And now they are teaching and they will teach their peers how to do critical analysis. Okay? I'll have to check their question. I have to check all the resources that they will contribute later on in the session. Have been checked and verified by instructors, stamping by me. Okay? They need just simple thing. They need just to put in a Google Drive. I check it and I say, okay, check, verify. They can use it. Okay? Okay. Share your teaching notes questions to us in the and additional resources in Pedagogy Forum. I set a forum. They will share their teaching notes. They will share the additional resources. This is going to be a flipped classroom. Flipped classroom session by the learners. I can put it something like pedagogy based on flipped classroom concept. You can do that. Okay. I innovate the terms. Okay. I merge it. Those who select their roles as a learners, they will have to start asking questions in the peer teaching session. Okay. I did a peer teaching session because this is in 2019. So it's a face-to-face session. But then if you would like to do a pedagogy now through online learning, so that you can do it through breakout room. Okay. Those who select their roles as a learner, they will start to ask questions in the peer teaching session. So they can start question asking and so on. And those who select their roles as collaborator, they will have to start share additional resources to support those who conduct the peer teaching session. Okay? And wrap-up session. You have a wrap-up session. And at the end, you have wrap-up session. So this is the tools that I use and the methods that as one sample. The second samples, I give it to all of you. Okay, you all feel free to just adjust my sample and replace it with your topic. I don't have any problem with it because I just want to share to others. Okay, this is another topic that I use, pedagogy. The topic is research trend in education and technology. You have create an online community. You have to create an online community of learning. The members of the community must be 2 of your course mates and other experts that you think suitable. This is quite challenging. They need to create their own learning community. Maksudnya dekat sini, I allow them to invite outsider as part of the learning community. Okay? And the outsider can be decided by them. They can be their senior, can be their previous lecturer, as long as they inform me lah who's going to be the outsider lah. Can be their brother also, their brother or sister who really expert in the topic. Yeah, they can do that. Okay? Assign task to every member, so the same task. I give it expert, of course, the task to the expert lah. In the Facebook group, I use Facebook group at this moment. Discuss the issue related to our class topic. They will discuss it. They have to prepare the required teaching notes, learning materials, and make sure that, and the important thing is that I'm going to verify the teaching materials. Then they have to prepare 2-3 essay questions that they would like the members community to answer related to the issue that has been discussed before. They're going to self-determine in the question. And share the answer with expert and mark the answers and get a comprehensive score on 10%. This is self-assessment. I allow them to score it. And there will be a wrap-up session. This is one example of another pedagogy. Okay. Let us move. I give you about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. To try it. prepared for your class, might be for tonight class, tomorrow, or when any time that you want. Okay, use the same template. I give the same template in it. Okay, try it. Okay, let me divide you this time around. I hope that you will stay in your breakout room lah. Okay, let me set the breakout room. Okay, so that okay, you can actually go to your breakout room. I already start your breakout room, so you can go to your breakout room and discuss about it. I will stay in the main room and chip into the breakout room from time to time. So I think you already received the breakout room punya message, and you just click it, join the breakout room and experience it. Okay, thank you those who just join us and have class and have to leave. Tak apa, tak ada masalah. Okay, can you join the breakout room later on? I will go to the breakout room to try to facilitate, to share it or to answer some of the questions. Okay, ada yang use handphone, tak apa, it's okay. If you use handphone, you stay in the main room lah. From my, now I'm using desktop, I couldn't find the link. Oh, you couldn't find the link Sekejap saya tengok sekejap, semua dah masuk breakout room ke? Okay, we back to the main room, main meeting room. Okay, let me check. Yes, I think. Okay, anyone from the breakout room would like to share your samples of pedagogy learning activities? Or might be from main room ke? Because some of you are not in the breakout room, you are in main room, but you are doing yours individually, your in designing your learning activities. Anyone asking for volunteer? Anyone?
I'll go first.
Okay. Okay, can you share your screen? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is from breakout room number 1. So the course name for the planned pedagogy learning activity is language teaching methodology. The specific topic is flipped classroom. Okay, so firstly, the instructions are to let the students to decide what is the role in this pedagogy learning activity, whether they are the facilitator, they have to choose whether they want to be the learner or contributor. And then the pedagogy principles is co-learning. And we also embed active learning, in which we ask them to do think, pair, share activity. That means they have to work in pair when they do this activity. And there is also a collaborative learning approach in this instruction. Okay, secondly, prior to online teaching session through WebEx, the teaching notes, question and resources have been checked and verified by instructor, which is us. So we ask them to use whether it's internet, PowerPoint or Prezi. So the pedagogy principle here is co-creating of knowledge, and the 21st century learning skills, critical thinking and lifelong learning. All right, the third one is students are to share the teaching note. This one is for the one who takes their roles as teachers. Okay, share the teaching notes, question to ask, and also additional resources in flipped classroom forum, or we open one Google Drive for them to share any resources related to flipped classroom. I think in this case, students also participate, those who take role as learners, they also participate in sharing information based on whatever that they find on internet and the thing that they wanted to share. Okay, it's on e-learning or Google Drive. So the pedagogy element here is co-learning, and this 21st century skill, digital skills, collaborative skill, and social skill. Okay, fourthly, those who select the role as a teacher, they will have to start the peer teaching session. Okay, it's either through WebEx or Mentimeter, and of course it's co-teaching, and they have to know at least digital skill. As we embed active learning approach in this pedagogy skills, we ask the teacher to ensure that active learning takes place, in which the teacher should use platforms such as Mentimeter to ask learners to respond to questions. All right. Fifth, those who select their role as a learner, they will have to start asking questions in the pre-teaching session. Also through, let's say, the WebEx, they can straightly unmute their mic and talk. Or if it's on other platform, you can the students can respond on Mentimeter. Right. Again, it's self-determined questions, and also what involve the skills involved are critical thinking and reflective thinking. And learners are to participate actively when answering each question. And finally, wrap-up session.
Thank you, Dr. Shura. I think it's very interesting topics. Then I would like to suggest if you
Yeah.
would like to collect data later on regarding your learning activity, you can call your activity something like meta flip classroom through pedagogy learning techniques, because you are doing flip classroom in flip classroom, flip class teaching a flip classroom, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
So the bombastic words that you can put is meta flip classroom, learnings through pedagogies, learning techniques and so on lah. And then people know that you are doing a flip classroom in a flip classroom. Very good. And if you can share samples in our Google Drive so that I can actually share later on for future sharing sessions. That is example from language. Tadi kita ada dari Dr. Faize. That's good also. Thank you very much.
All right.
Anyone else who would like to share before we're going to have a wrap-up session for our sharing session today? Anyone else? Memang breakout room 1 ni memang bagus betul lah. Tadi pun Dr. Faizi from breakout room 1. Okay, so anyone from main room or anyone from other breakout room who would like to share? Betul tak?
Nak cuba?
Sila Dr. Doria. Okay, that's good. Okay, Dr. Doria, you can share.
Okay, I hope can see.
Yeah, we can see it. Okay, that's
Okay. So for the topic, thanks to this training, I have 2 activities scheduled already. So I don't have to worry.
Happy to share it.
So this is for end of year punya topic, development of education in Malaysia and Malaysia education blueprint. Benda-benda ni sebenarnya the students can read on their own under the subject philosophy. So for this video, it's all for my side. I will prepare all the necessary document to explain what's going to happen. Also including one synchronous session to explain how the activity will be conducted.
Okay.
Okay, for students, task 1, choose either to be a trainer or a trainee. Task 2, compile all the necessary information about their group members. This is where they need to track who is doing work, who is not contributing, and so on. And then this is where the task is split. 3A, if they are trainer, they need to prepare a 1-hour training session on that topic. Content, flow, activity, notes, handouts. And then when they have they do discussion on forum, e-learning, and they share all the content on forum, I will track through. If they are trainee, I will use the material from previous semester, because previous semester students, they commented on a note that I prepared for them in Flipgrid videos, around 2 minutes per person. So they have to go through the videos, and then from the videos, find out questions. If you are a trainee, what kind of things that you want to learn from the session? Summarize everything and then post on forum. This is the stage 2. Stage 3, they have to tell me how to assess them, if they are a trainer or trainee. And then they need to negotiate with me on a time, 30 minutes discussion, tell me what they want to present, what are the questions that they want to ask, and then go through the content with me lah. And finally, on the specific date, the trainer will have to organize the training. The trainee has to sit through the training and then debriefing. So the overall content is actually 10 marks assignment for the students. So I don't have to do anything, in other words. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. So this is quite comprehensive. I think it's really nice that you put it in details. If you can share it in the Google Drive folder, that's good. You PDF, share it there so that I can put it. That's what I've been crafted by Dr. Doria. Okay, and then for those, thank you, Dr. Doria, for sharing. And of course, for those my colleagues who still here, this is where when you fill in your test DCP, you know the UTM need a proof that you are doing NALI teaching and learning methods in your class, then you can put that as part of the proof that you are already designing the activities based on pedagogies or pedagogies and so on. So I think we are pushing another 9 minutes to go at 12. Then we should finish at 12 p.m. I believe, I hope, thank you very much. We started with, I think, 130 participants, and everybody knows that in JB we have class on Sunday. Some of you left because of class, is okay. Okay, Alhamdulillah, we still have 81 participants with us. Thank you very much for your times. Any more questions? 1 or 2 questions? I open it because we still have about 9 minutes to go. And then if you have questions or remarks, I hope the templates really assist you to implement at least the pedagogy and pedagogy principle in your teaching and learning. Not so comprehensively punya template, but a simple template for you to tap or to design your learning activities. And also use the e-learnings to give the activities to the students. Okay, ada question ke? Ada soalan ke? Silakan.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Can you share again the template in chat, because I'm...
Oh, okay. Let me copy paste again the Google Drive in your folder so that those who just might join us because you have class or other things to do tadi. Kejap. Thank you.
Is it enough just share this lesson plan in test DCP?
If you you share this template inside also some of capture screen of the real activities in PowerPoint ke, kalau you deliver it through PowerPoint, I think it's quite enough for me as one of the person who involved in giving marks to the staff. I believe it's enough because it shows that you implement it, what topic and so on. For me lah, for me at the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities lah. Okay.
Because we write down all the activities, then how the evaluator is equivalent to that activity.
How will you suggest to link between? How do you suggest to link between pedagogy and pedagogy? If you look at the pedagogy principle, most of the pedagogy principles are in pedagogy, but not all principles of pedagogy are in pedagogies. So if you want to link it, you can actually implement the principle of pedagogy in pedagogy. But in pedagogy also the learners can self-determine on certain things, group members, topic, self-determine on the roles of each group member, who's going to be the facilitators, who's going to be the contributors, who's going to be the writer. Kalau you have 4 members in a group, who's going to be the students who are going to ask questions and so on. Boleh, tak ada masalah. Prof, you can link it. I believe pedagogy principles, most of it is in pedagogy, but not some part of pedagogy are not in the pedagogy. Okay, for you, I hope I can answer your question. Thank you very much. Okay, other questions? Besides that, I just browse through the chat. Yeah, ada borang. Yes.
Prof, Faizi ya, Prof.
Soalan
Prof pasal pedagogy, self-determined in the context of self-assessment tu, macam mana kita nak tahu kalau kita biarkan student tu assess diri dia sendiri, dia punya assessment level tu is up to the level yang kita mahu. Contoh, kalau kita mengajar subjek engineering doctorate, so this is doctorate level. We can ask them to assess themselves. How we want to make sure that assessment yang achieve tu is up to the level of doctorate level that we want. Contoh lah. So how we want to make sure?
Okay. Of course, when you want the student to do a self-assessment, usually self-assessment come with a self-assessment form. self-assessment form. So in the self-assessment form, you must have the criteria and the levels that they have to tick. You don't just give self-assessment, free self-assessment. You can allow them to come up with their own rubric, but you need to give guideline. This is kind of rubric that I want, that have several levels. Okay, so you're not going to give 100% to them without any guideline. Tak boleh. You kena set some standard. Ni yang macam saya kata tu tadi lah. You need to, sebenarnya dalam conducting heterogogy and pedagogy learning activities ni, you memang berlakon. Sebenarnya you tahu semua apa benda yang you nak. But then you just make it as a scenario. You just give the role to the students so that they were going to get it themselves. They are the one who going to assess themselves, so that they're not going to blame you because they are the one who assess themselves. And there is a research, there is a research saying that in self-assessment, at first time they assess themselves, dia memang ada dua trend. The first trend is that the confident students, so-called for confident student lah, what student lah, they will assess themselves high. Okay, but what you're going to do is that if the thing is conflict with your observation, you see, let's say student A, they assess dia punya work very good, dia memang dia bold enough saying that dia punya performance very good, but based on your observation, he or she is not good. So what you can do is that you can set a session with the student. Okay, why do you think that you take 4 out of 5? You can have the session and not just give a freedom totally to them. And dia sebenarnya guided jugalah, Faizi. Jadi you need to prepare the form. If you have a self-assessment form, you can give them to design the self-assessment form, but you give them the criteria that you need in the form, and give sample also. You want this sample like this. When you give samples to the student, this is a technique in the constructivism, we call it modeling. In constructivism, you have scaffolding, you have coaching, you have modeling. So if you give samples, the one that you expect the student to have or to produce for their assessment, when you self-assessment form, you are doing what you call it modeling. You give them a samples. You give a samples that you want the what you call it, the rubric that you will develop for yourself to measure yourself, to assess yourself like this. Something like that. Faizi, it's not totally macam kosong dia nilai sendiri, bukan. You cannot do that. Okay.
Okay, faham, Prof. Terima kasih banyak. Terima kasih banyak.
So, any last question? Okay, kalau tak ada, thank you very much to all. I'm so surprised that I'm so happy today, although we have an online session with some of challenges having the breakout room, but we still able to have 2 ways, short courses on heterogogy and pedagogy. I hope my resource sharing sessions and templates and samples really can assist you to design or to try the heterogogy and pedagogy in your teaching and learning. And I'm also happy might be few of you already have your learning activities for this week or next week after using the template. I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry if the course is not up to your expectation for today. We try our best together with UTM Lead to share what is heterogogy and pedagogy in the simple way lah, so that you can understand it. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.